to our 99th Reading Online Sports Economics Seminar. We're doing it the century next week in fine style, following on from many English batsmen, bizarrely enough, in the last few weeks. But this week we're on 99, not out, and we have one of our own presenting. We have Meshael Batarfi, who is a PhD student with a career at the University of Reading. She is presenting with the title Social Pressure and Gender, Evidence Using Women's Football. I'm going to be on mute fairly soon because at the moment in my house we're having scaffolding put up. So it means there's going to be lots of noise. So I'm going to go on mute and not spend any more of Meshael's time when she should be presenting and allow her to take away her talk. So Meshael, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Meshael. I'm going to present my research today, which is part of my PhD thesis, which is joint work with my supervisor, James. Title of my work, as James said, is about social pressure and gender, evidence using women football. I would like to thank James for encouraging me to present my research today. So essentially, what is it all about? So we as economists, we care about the outcome, and the outcome might impacted by different factors. And one of these, which is social pressure, and it's widely examined in different contexts with different variables around the world. They compare between different gender, age, experience, and in different geographical location. Sport data is a quite unique data, and it's quite measurable. And women football data is also quite special, with gender interaction and gender variation compared to men football data, which is a quite setup to examine the social pressure. It's important to note that women started to play relatively late compared to men, and they only get a proper attention in the past few years. And we find only we could not find many studies that examine the impact of social pressure with all these changes. Although we find that women's sport get a proper attention in the last few years, and the more attendance are more football matches are attended by more and more attendance in the past few years, and it's difficult to find a ticket for most of the women matches. As now, women matches, I think it's reaching the level of men football matches. So this motivates us to think about the variation of outcome in women football matches that might associated with the gender. In our data set, we find interesting numbers. Like we have most of our coaches in our data set are male, and many referees are female, and this will encourage us to examine how social pressure might have an impact on home advantage and referee bias in women's sport, and how different gender composition might have an impact in football, and this will be our main contribution. So in terms of the related literature, we look first at we find many papers that examine social pressure in the men football or in the professional men's sport. So home team, they get favorable decision by the official, and this might contribute to the final outcome for the home team. And this widely examined, especially in the past 3 or 2 years, when matches are played behind closed door with the absence of the crowd. And many studies examine how crowd variation might lead to different outcome in the sport. Overall, they look at the outcome and reduction and how yellow card might change during the absence or the presence of social pressure, and the overall a significant reduction in yellow card was seen when the matches were take place with no fans. When we look at the studies that examine the home advantage in women football, we could not find many studies that examine or investigate social pressure in women football, although they confirm the home advantage in women football in different geographical location, in Brazilian, in the US, and most European women leagues. And we find one paper, they used the data for during the for women football matches during the pandemic, and they found insignificant decrease in home advantage when fans are not presented in the women football Swedish women football teams matches. Sorry. And then we look at the gender interaction in sport. We wanna find out the recent paper that were published in the area of referee bias due to referee gender bias. So we find that overall male referees might react differently when they have female players compared to male players. So they tend to penalize female more than male players. They might make a harsher decision or make or have shown higher level of bias against female players than male ones. Whereas some other study, they found no evidence due to the gender composition of the referee teams. And we find one and final paper, they used data for during data for matches that took place during the pandemic, and they found that male referees bend social pressure compared to male ones, especially when they have to give extra time during matches. So our research question that we are trying to answer to what extent there will be an impact of different composition of team management on decision making about what happened within matches, and how this will have an impact on the final outcome, how there will be differences between male and female under the impact of social pressure. Our data is for a national and international level women football matches. We collect our data from worldfootball.net for women football matches. We have the total of 22,534 matches covered the time period between March 1983 and the most recent one took place in February 2022. The available data covers around 65 countries from 40 competitions. We have the designated the data for the referee gender and the coach gender. The data will be included in the analysis since June 2017, which is equal to around 50% of the total data, as we want to have many observations that for our variables of interest. Total matches that were played with no fans, we have 1,816 matches. We have only 8 matches that took place before 2017. A quick look at the proportion of female coaches, we find that the number of female coaches increasing since the early 80s until mid 90s, and then decline in some period of time, and then the number increased between 2000 and 2008, and overall the number of female coaches is lower than the number of matches, especially in the past in the last 10 years between 2010 and 2020. And then we look at the proportion of referee gender. We have some I'll have some issue with the data. I'm going to check that later, but overall, we have more female referees, more female referees than the male ones, especially in the after late 90s until present. The overall number of female referees is higher than male referees. A quick look at the data, our variables in our data set. We have set of different variables: closed door, home, when, outcome, referee gender, first and second assistant referee gender, home goal, away goal, total goal, and we at goal differences, which we are going to use in our analysis. Yellow card, home and away yellow card differences, which is also we are going to use between the yellow card differences between the home and the away. Red card and yellow prediction, attendance, the gender for the home and for the away team. So our main variables of interest, a quick explanation for the variables. So gender, which take the value of 0 for male and 1 for female. A closed door, 0 with fans, 1 with no fans. Outcome for the home team, which is 1 for if the home team. Win, -1 if they lose, and 0 for the draw. Yellow card, we'll use the yellow card differences between the home and the away team. And the number of goals, again, we'll use the goals differences between the home and the away team. Attendance and yellow predict, which is take the value of 0 for away win and for certain, and 1 for home win for certain. So a quick look at the proportion of matches with different combination of the referees and coaches. So overall, we have the data, available data for 4,897 completed data for the referee gender and coach gender. So we have, out of this number, we have 4,146 matches that played with female referees and 751 matches with male referees. And the large majority of the matches are played as we have more male coaches than the female ones. So then we look at the mean differences between home and away team in the number of goals. So overall, when we look at the overall, we find overall the home team score 0.17 times than the away team, and with the male referees, this number is quite higher, and it's decreased when they have female referees. And when we look at different combination, different gender combination of coaches, when we have both coaches are female for the home and for the away with the male referees, we find that the away team score more goals than the away team. And with the female referees, again, the home team will score more than the away team. And when we have home male, away female in the third row, we find that the male referees, with the male referees, the home team will score 0.24 times than the away team. And this difference is decreased when we have female referees. And then we have when we have home female, away male, the away team again scores more than the home team as 0.18 times than the home team. And with the female referee, the home team scores 0.14 times than the away team. And when we have both coaches for the home and for the away, both coaches are male, with the male referees, the home team score more than the away team, and with the female referees, we find only slight differences, very small differences between the number of goals between the home and the away team. When we look at the mean yellow card differences between the home and the away team, we find that the away team are giving more yellow card than the home team, and with the male referees, even this number is quite high, and with the female referee is lower than with the male referees. And then we look at the different combination of gender for the coaches. So when we have both coaches are female for the home and for the away, with the male referees, we find that the male referees are giving the away team are giving more yellow card, 0.27 times than the home team, and with the female referees, the home team is there is no difference, big differences between the yellow card that are giving for the home and for the away team. When we have home male and away female, again, the away team are giving 0.13 more yellow card, 0.13 times yellow card than the home team, and with the female referees, the away team are giving 0.14 times yellow card more than the home team. And when we have home female, away male, with the male referees, again, the away team are giving more yellow card with the male and with the female referees, and with the both coaches are both coaches are male. We find that with the male referees, the differences in yellow card is very low, and with the female referees, again, the home team are giving more yellow card than the away team. Then we look at the proportion of home win. So overall, the home team win 0.45 times than the away team, and this proportion is quite similar between when they have female or male referees. When we look at the different combination of referee of coach gender, when both coaches are female, we find that the home team win 0.41 times with the male referees, and it's quite similar also with the female referees. But once we have home male, away female, the home teams with the home team, which they have male coach with the male referees, they win 0.47 times than the away team. And with the female referees, they win 0.39 times than the away team. And when we have home female, away male, with the male referees, the home team win 0.31 times than the away team. And with the female referees, the home team win 0.44 times than the away teams. When both coaches are male, with the male referees, we find that home team win 0.47 times and than the away team, and with the female referees, the home team win 0.42 times than the away team. So then we run another regression. We want to investigate the variation in depth. So we run OLS regression for various of outcomes. So we will use the outcome for the home win, yellow card differences, and the goal differences will include home team year, country, fixed effect. So a quick look at the first regression for when we have all male referees. For the first 3 columns, we did not include the information for the coach or for the referees, and then we add the coach age and the coach experience and the referee age and the referee experience in the fourth, fifth, and sixth column. So overall, we could not find any significant result when running the first three regression, and then once we add control, we control for referee age, referee experience, and the coach's age and the experience. We find only a slight significant increase in the outcome for the home team when both coaches are female with the male referees. And then we look at the gender interaction again in when we have all female referees. Again, when we have both coaches are female with the female referee, again, we have slight, we have significant decrease in the outcome for the home team, and significant decrease in the outcome for the winning for the home team, the winning outcome for the home team, and the goal differences, decrease in the goal differences between the home and the away team. So our conclusion, we study the impact of social pressure in national and international level women football matches. We find that evidence of differences when we look at the table of different means in different combination indicate for in-group bias, and this effect disappear once we control for other different variables. Overall, when we look at the tables, the table of means, we find male referees favor the home team when they have male coach, and the outcome for the home team and the goal differences will be reduced when both coaches are females with female referees.
Okay, thank you very much, Meshael, for your presentation on the gender variation in referees and coaches in women's football. Questions and comments? Johan.
Hi, so I'm not sure. Oh, thank you very much for that, Meshael. Really interesting. Something I'm not sure you might be able to control for or something, but okay. I'm wondering if you can have some kind of repeated interactions here. So if a referee has got a relationship with a coach by refereeing them multiple times, would that have any impact or anything? For example, I'm just thinking that, oh, I've managed that guy for a number of times, we've got quite a good relationship, or alternatively, we've got quite a bad relationship, and then things might mess up. But I'm not sure you might have enough data for that, but it's just something to consider.
Okay, thank you. Let me check then. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your comment.
Thanks, Johan. Definitely a good point. There's certainly scope for referee-coach interactions through the data and referee team, certainly. Any more questions and comments? Stefan.
Yeah, thank you. It's a really interesting topic, and a lot of things to think about there. I wonder if there is some relationship between the way these things go at women's games as opposed to men's games. So a lot of these teams will certainly nowadays be related to men's teams in the same region. So I just wonder if there's some, I'm not sure how easy it would be to do, but some kind of control for, you know, our Manchester United women's team being treated in the same way as Manchester United are being treated, for example. You know, there might be some kind of cultural relationship with the identity of the team itself.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Stefan.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. I'll think about it. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your suggestion.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, I've been looking at the German system more recently. So as I understand it, there's a shift in the UK or in England from the teams being really autonomous women's teams to being integrated into the National League system. And it strikes me that that's a really big change, and the gender influences there are going to be huge. So I wonder if in your data, because you've got a nice long data set, right? So I wonder if you could take that into account in the data.
Okay.
The data certainly for England is only the Super League period, so it's the period that you mentioned when things have become more homogenized with the men's game. You know, each men's team has women's team, so it doesn't really cover the the Doncaster Bells kind of era from long ago. But I think you're right. That's another interesting aspect, because the way in which we've looked at this is that you've got women playing, and you can almost think about, I guess, almost interchangeably. Well, they're playing one week and they've got a male referee. They're playing the next week and they've got a female referee. Does it make a difference? They've got a home coach, they've got a male coach or a female coach. But equally, now that the women's team play at the same stadium, you can almost think about it being, well, you turn up one week and it's Man United men, and the next week it's Man United women. So they're all becoming a bit more interchangeable, if you like.
Well, I've been doing something with Arne Lauber and about German women's football, and the interesting thing there is, if you look at in Germany, it's the system is more. There isn't this step change that you see in England, so that in Germany you have independent women's teams, you have women's teams that are integrated with men's professional teams like Bayern Munich, and then you have a lot of women's teams that are integrated with men's amateur teams, just because they're just a huge number of teams. And the interesting thing we found was that the women's teams in the integrated with the men's professional teams tend to be the most successful teams in the league. But then the second most successful group are the women's teams that remain independent. The ones that perform worst are the women's who are integrated with the men's amateur teams, which, strikes me, tells you something about gender relationships and how my explanation would be that when you integrate, the men take over, and that in a professional context, there's plenty of money, so that's not a problem. But in an amateur context, that really actually affects the ability of the women's team to perform. So I don't know if there's any sort of similar effects you could look at here.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thanks, Stefan.
Thank you.
More questions and comments? Well, while we wait, one thing I'll say, Michelle, if you go back to your slide with the referees.
Okay. Can you see my slide again?
Yeah, I think if you just scroll up, you should be able to go back to it.
Okay, which one?
Okay, go back the slide with the picture, the plot of the number of the proportions of male female referees. Yes, okay. So that next one, yeah. So just to say that we think that the blue line, well, we're certain that the blue line is correct. That's the proportion of male referees officiating women's games. But the grey line, there's something not quite right with the grey line. But what the point this makes is that you had essentially no male referees for a period of time from 99 through to about 2015-16, and now you've got about kind of 15-20% of referees in the women's game are male referees. So you've got variation in the referees as well as variation in the head coaches. And then can you go to the table with the proportions, one of the small tables with the proportions? I think it was the differences in goal differences.
This
Yeah,
one.
just to say, there's definitely a typo there, Michelle, because that 0.81 is a bit too big.
Okay.
But we'll just check. We'll check that number out. But the main pattern is there that you pointed out, which is the male referees and a male home coach and female referees and a away female coach seem to be the strongest associations. Any more questions and comments? John Louis.
Okay. Thanks a lot for this very interesting presentation. I would like to know what's going on in the women Euro, what is occurring now. Did you look at the human Euro, which is played now?
Okay.
About the referees? It looks as there are mainly women referees in this Euro. Did you look at that?
No.
We haven't. No. Do you produce for the women's games, John Louis?
It looks to me that the Euro is now played, no?
Yeah, the European Championships in England.
Yes, the women Euro. It looks, as far as I know, that most of the referees, even all the referees, are female referees, no? Do you look at that?
Not yet. I'm just looking now. I'm Googling it. I think you're right that they all look like, it looks like they're, and then that reflects what we've got, which is, that 85% of referees in the women's game are now female. I don't know what the head coaches are, though. I don't know whether England now has a female head coach.
So my question in general was, is there any difference between the national championship and between the international or European competitions? Is that my question?
I think we should include, I need to look at the difference between the national and international. Yes, this is one variable that what I'm planning to do next.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there appears to be slight differences from what we've looked at so far, and so that's one future avenue of research. I was just looking, and the Netherlands head coach is male, and the England head coach is female, so that's a sample of two that I know of in the European Championships, and it's 50-50. So.
Thank you.
Thanks, John Louis.
Thank you.
Any more questions and comments? In which case we have a nice and prompt, speedy finish this week, which is always nice. It means everyone can go and enjoy the fine weather that we're having, and an early start to the weekend. Thank you, Meshael, for your presentation. Thank you, everyone, for attending, for your questions and comments. Please do, if you want to further feed them back, get in touch with either myself or Meshael. We're going to meet again next week. In the meantime, hopefully a number of you will be able to join us on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week in Reading, where we're having the Math Sport International Conference. The sessions with the best will in the world will be also streamed on Teams. So if you're a member of the Roses team, you'll be able to access the Math Sport International Conference that way. But if you are at all in the area, please do pop along if you can and join us in person next week in Reading. But we'll then be back online for our 100th Reading Online Sport Economics Seminar next Friday, July the 15th, when Hannah Altman from the Queensland University of Technology will present the market for lemons in the health and fitness industry, the example of New Zealand. So, Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you, James. Thank you. Bye-bye.